It is Tuesday, and it is a chilly Tuesday. Welcome into the News 10 Plus desk. I'm Taylor Gattoni with Claudia Sella from Studio 10.
I'm in full snow gear. I've got snow pants.
Oh, you do?
A snow pants skirt on, and it comes in handy, let me tell you.
That looks nice.
Yeah.
I may have to get one.
You know who I was told to get this by? Teachers on the playground. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Genius.
They really know how cold it is.
Yeah, and it is freezing. So if you have, nothing to do but other than freeze, come watch our show at 3 p.m. We have a big celebration today. It is our 1-year relaunch anniversary. Yay!
Woohoo!
And,
Studio 10!
It's crazy because I was like, wow, this year has gone by so far. But then I was looking at all the people we've talked to, all of the guests. I'm like, wow, it's been a big year. So
yeah. We
want to celebrate with you, and we're going to celebrate with people who have been, continuously on our show. We've got Sarah Pierce from 517 Living coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We have It's Also Take Me Home Tuesday, and
yes.
So they're going to help us celebrate with whatever furry friend they bring. And we've just got a really fun show. We're celebrating a lot of the stuff that we've done over the past year, as well as we have another performance on Sabrina today. She always does amazing. So yeah, it's just a really fun kind of reflection year. If you've been with us throughout the year, we appreciate it. And today, this is kind of all about you and celebrating with you. So I'm excited. Yeah.
That's so cute, and happy 1 year.
Oh, thank you. It's weird. I feel like this was a really fast year.
It was a fast year.
I feel like we were just talking about this, and it's really exciting. So we're happy to have you at 3 p.m. We do have questions online too.
Okay.
We've asked a couple questions about what have you liked this year on Studio 10, and other questions like what was your favorite memory from Studio 10. So if you can think of it and you have your phone handy or your laptop handy, we'd love to hear your answer. So.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Taylor.
All of that at 3 o'clock today for Studio 10. And if you want to go answer those questions like Claudia was just talking about, you can look up Studio 10's social media, which is at WILX Studio 10. Head over there, look at their 1 year and everything they have to recap, which is super exciting. And of course, we love having Studio 10. Just a great little break in the day from all the news. You can look at the lifestyle and all the fun things happening around our communities. So check them out 3 o'clock today, and of course every weekday at 3 o'clock. And you can always go to their YouTube page at WILX Studio 10 and re-look back at anything that they've had on their show, any of their fun segments. Again, today's Take Me Home Tuesday, and of course they have a lot of events and activities you can do inside during this chilly weather. So be efficient with your time while you're stuck indoors. That's all I can say. But we do have Justin Bradford standing next to me right now because Justin, earlier today, it was a First Alert weather day. Mm-hmm. We have since then taken it away. Yeah. But it's still cold out there.
Yeah, we don't want to undermine the importance of still being safe and staying warm out there. We had just gotten to the point now where, as everyone at home knows, our commitment to you via the First Alert brand to call it First Alert Weather Day is so that you're aware of the changing conditions and disruptive, dangerous, and impactful weather. And now we're at the point where it's been cold for 3-4 days, and so you know what to expect at this point. But we still, again, want to stress that importance because wind chill's still around 15 to 20 below tonight. And so it's still going to be a focus into tomorrow. We're just no longer branding it as a First Alert Weather Day, but we still want you to get that First Alert forecast because it's going to be another cold stretch here for another day or two to get through before we get to some warmer weather, which is on the way, I promise. You just got to bear with the forecast here. By this time next week, we're going to feel and look, I think, a lot different than we do right now.
All right, well, that's great news. Yeah. I know a lot of us wanted the snow. We wanted it to feel like winter, but this was a little bit too much.
I think, in my personal opinion, I think it's nice to get a couple of these kind of brutally cold days. Not that I enjoy it, because I don't. I want to make that clear. But it's nice to get a couple of the brutally cold days every winter so that we appreciate more the days that aren't so cold, right? It's kind of a give or take relationship. Personally, I can do without the cold myself. I know a lot of folks at home could too, but I think by next week, that's going to be all behind us. We're getting back into a warmer than normal trend, and we'll talk about that in our First Alert forecast.
All right, sounds good. We'll look forward to, and before we jump out to the MSU Skycam here, since it is still cold outside, and I know we're about to take a live look over Michigan State University's campus, where I'm sure a lot of students are Bracing for the cold, and hopefully you have your gloves, hats, jackets, hand warmers, anything to keep you warm. Even in your car, just keeping extra batteries on hand. I know there were reports of outages over the weekend, and hopefully those without their power are getting that restored as quickly as possible with these cold temperatures. But just making sure that you're continuously being prepared, whether we have another system on the way or not. So
yeah, the good news is the winds are kind of dialing back from where they were, and so that tomorrow will be a little breezy as well.
Yeah.
But then towards the end of the week, we're going to lose that wind factor that's been kind of bugging us and making it feel even colder outside. And so it'll be good to get rid of the wind. We do have another brief system coming in, but the big trend here is going to be the warm-up that we're focused on, which, again, is very good. And the warm-up, I think by the time we get to the 10-day forecast, will be pretty apparent at the end here. But we should take a look outside at what's going on, because we had a little bit of sunshine earlier. It's starting to cloud back up, and you can still see a few hints of blue behind the clouds up near our bar at the top there. But cloud cover is going to return and take over for the rest of the day. You can see that the current temperature out there at Michigan State's campus is 9 degrees. Well, that's a lot warmer than we have been around here lately, and so we'll take what we can get once again. So here's a look at temperatures around the region. Once again, 10 degrees in St. John's and points north of the M21 corridor, where, again, you are being shielded more if you're watching us from those locations by the warmth from Lake Michigan. Now, I use warmth loosely because it's still 10 degrees outside, but you notice that it's kind of odd that the further south you go, the colder it is. Well, that's because, again, we have a little bit of wind coming from the southwest. Running over land, it's very cold air, whereas when that air runs over the lake water, it's relatively warm all compared to the air temperature. And of course, the lake is still not frozen over there, and so it's above 32 degrees, and none of our air is even close to that. So you get kind of a moderating effect towards the lakeshore. If you are along the shoreline of Lake Michigan downwind, it probably is close to 15 or even 20 degrees there, and that's because you've got, again, that warmer air being held in place. Winds, though, have still been a factor today, running from 15 to 20 miles per hour, at times gusting higher than that this afternoon. Charlotte right now reading as calm winds, but that's not the case. I think we're having an issue with the sensor there as far as the wind goes. So Charlotte is going to show up at 9 degrees on the wind chill, but I think it's more like -9 there when you look at the air temperature. And then Jackson feels like 15 below zero and -11 in Lansing. And so, again, we've still got some very cold wind chills out there. As you see, Jackson's the coldest of the bunch right now, but everybody has got some of those chilly conditions this afternoon. That's how it's feeling outside. I think tomorrow, in a lot of ways, is a similar start to the day, but the end of the day is different, and so is the rest of the trend. And so the satellite and radar has kept a couple of clouds, well, certainly clouds in West Michigan today. They've had some snowflakes still falling out towards Grand Rapids and points towards the lakeshore communities. Occasionally, we've had a couple flakes come our way. They have not been sticking or accumulating or anything, despite how cold it is. And we even got into a little bit of that sunshine you see there on satellite and radar from a couple hours ago, but we are starting to cloud back up, and that'll be the case heading into the rest of this evening as well. The large system that affected us is now further off towards the East Coast, and we once again are seeing quiet conditions out towards the Midwest. And so if we do get any snow showers, it's only going to be a weak disturbance that comes through between now and the end of the weekend. So wind chills are what we'll focus on in the hour by hour, with very little, if any, precipitation in the forecast. You see, again, tonight and through this evening, those chills still going 15 to 20 degrees below zero, and they'll still be around -22, -25 in some spots by tomorrow morning. And so we do have wind chill advisories out. Those are going to be in effect until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for most of our counties, and you're especially impacted the further south you go. Notice places like Ionia, Alma only getting to around 9 degrees below zero, and again, you can see kind of that lake shield based on the wind direction as far as the wind chill goes. Now, as we head into the afternoon tomorrow, I'm going to stop short of calling this a heat wave, but when it feels like 3 degrees tomorrow afternoon, that'll be the warmest we've felt in more than 4 days. Which is impressive because those feels-like conditions have remained below zero this entire time. And so for us to climb even above zero tomorrow as far as how it feels out, that's going to be a large improvement versus where we've been lately. And look at this. It goes even better Thursday. We're getting numbers back into the teens as far as what it feels like, and those air temps will be in the low 20s. Again, all something to look forward to as we head towards the end of this week, and even more so for the end of the month. The final week of January promises above average temperatures, and that bullseye is right over the Great Lakes. And so that's what we expect expect to enjoy by the time we get there. Here's a look at the 10-day forecast then. 16 Wednesday, 22 Thursday. We are back in the high teens on Friday and Saturday, but we'll dry out for the weekend. It's a little bit chilly, but not as cold as it has been as of late. And then next week, we're back in the 30s. Even got a few days getting to the low 40s in my 10-day forecast. That will come with maybe a system or two that work through, but with numbers in the 40s and even overnight lows in the mid-30s, that means we're looking at rain instead of snow. What that in effect will do is melt or wash most of the snow we've got out there away. And so if you have enjoyed the snow, you've got probably another 7 to 8 or 9 days to enjoy it. And then it looks like if this forecast holds true, it's going to be melting away by the time we get there. One more better way to visualize it is in the trend. Average high for the next 10 days will be 30 degrees. We are going to be at 30 on average until January 31st. Then we'll go to 31, and temperatures on average will rise from there on out all the way through July. So that's something to look forward to as well. But you notice just how cold it looks on the 10-day temperature trend versus where we're headed. Again, by the middle of next week, these numbers are back close to 40 degrees for several days in a row. And so if you have been looking for this cold stretch here to end, look no further than this time next week. That's when we're going to be back into a more tolerable, we'll call it, temperature trend. Because even if you do like the cold, when it's feeling like 15, 20 degrees below zero, I do know a couple people who claim that they like temperatures like that.
Oh, no.
It's really hard for me to buy that.
Are they okay?
I don't. I always wonder that because I know people like to be hardy and people like to say, "Oh, I love the cold." That's great. That's fine. But if you're someone who genuinely enjoys 20 degree below zero temperatures, as far as how it feels outside,
I don't want to call you crazy, but that's a little crazy.
You must have some like Viking ancestry or something. I mean, I really don't know. I don't get it personally, but that's I know people like the cold. I don't mind it being like 20 degrees, even 10 degrees, but when you're like when it feels like, I don't mind that. I think that's just kind of nice. I mean, get a little break, and again, it helps you appreciate the warm days even more.
Okay, yes.
I'm not going to go outside in shorts or do anything like that, but for me, it gets colder than 5 degrees. My face is numb. I can't feel anything. So I mean, it's anything colder than that, it all feels the same to me, and it's
not great.
Bad. I don't like it.
Well, you're just talking about the shorts, and I feel like looking at the 10-day temperature trend, you always see like the teenage boys running around in their shorts when it's like 40, 50 degrees out in the spring. So I would not be surprised come next week with this warm up. Hopefully they're wearing long pants because it's still cold, but they're teenage boys. I'm sure they'll want their shorts. Yeah, and you can relate.
I won't be surprised if next Wednesday, if it's 41, if I wear shorts to work.
So it's not just the teenage boys, it's you too.
It's the adult males as well.
You're all guilty.
And
I will call you out.
And I'm not encouraging that for like folks or parents, and I don't tell anyone how to live their life. I'm just here to let you know what the temperature. You can figure out what you're going to do. But if we're going from feels likes of 20 below to maybe being 40 next week, 40's gonna feel like 60 next Wednesday after going through what we just went through. So again, my opinion, I don't love the bitter cold.
No.
I appreciate the cold. I don't like the bitter cold. I'm sure a lot of folks can relate. Hopefully we'll get some warmer temps in here sooner than later. It looks like next week is going to deliver, and so we've got that to look forward to.
Well, while you've got your shorts on, I'll keep wearing my heated vest because I'm cold no matter what the temperature is.
That's fine, and that's probably the smarter idea. We don't want anyone getting sick, catching a cold. Now, when I'm talking wearing shorts, I'm not saying I'm running around outside all day. I'm saying I'm wearing shorts and, I'm so tough, and then I get into a warm car. I drive to work. I'm outside for 12 seconds to come into the building, and then I change into my suit and tie and everything. So
get all professional.
That's wearing shorts. That's not me all day being outside wearing shorts. If I was outside all day, I'm not doing that.
You can yell at Justin if you see him.
As a disclaimer, I don't want to be associated with bad decisions.
Can't be associated with that.
That's not what I'm here for. So anyway.
Well, if people do want to figure out what to wear next week when we do warm up in the forecast, there's a great tool to check for that.
Yeah, and if you're not able to catch us on air or catch our forecast online, First Alert Weather App's the next best place because you're going to get all of those products that we share on our air and on our social media pages and also on our website. You're going to get all those from the First Alert Weather App. It's absolutely the best way to go through and find your weather information information when you're not able to catch our show and the in-depth newscast, because we've got in-depth forecasts right at your fingertips. Interactive radar, all sorts of weather alerts, push notifications. You can set these so that you can receive them via alerts, notifications, whatever else. If you don't like them, you can turn them off if you want, but I think it's good to have them on, and you can, of course, use that and customize it to your liking. Very user-friendly features, and it's all free, and so that's the best part about it. Every once in a while, you got to watch an ad because, we need to pay the bills around here, but, most of those could also be passed up and passed along and once you watch it through, and they're pretty short, and most of the ads are good, too. I like them, so.
Oh, they're good.
But it's good. It helps you plan your day, and when you're in a rush or you're in a hurry or you're out and about, maybe you're not even in this area. It's a good way for you to have your location set on there, so that it can give you a provided updated forecast for your region. And again, a great tool to have. And this is updated manually by our First Alert meteorologists. And so if you're checking that, that's a forecast that we have put together, and so that makes it, I like to think, a more reliable forecast than whatever a computer is just spitting out. And so it's a good way for you to get that information all in the palm of your hand, and once again, absolutely free. Great tool for you to have. First Alert Weather app. Download today if you don't have it already.
Yep, there you go.
And if you do, hopefully you love using it. Give us some feedback. Let us know. We're always looking to improve that product as well, and so we want it to be the best. We think it is the best, but we want to make sure it's the best. And so you helping us with that feedback can let us know how we can do that for you.
Exactly. Help us help you.
Yeah, of course.
Sounds good. Well, we will see you at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock, and then, of course, first at 4. We're going to have all those latest news stories. And, again, 1-year anniversary for Studio 10. They work so hard putting that show together.
Oh, yeah.
And, all of us contribute, and really a collective team effort. But I have to admit that the ladies over there and our producer, Shane, Sarah, they all do such a good job just putting together a good product that's entertaining, that's local, that's fun, and we appreciate every one of you who's tuned in, who has helped out, who responds to all their social media questions.
They're fun.
And they mention you in the show, by the way. If you go on there and you give your thoughts, there's a good chance you end up at the end of the show being one of the people whose comments get on the air, and that's always fun to see when your opinion gets to show up and everyone gets to see it. So we appreciate everybody watching, and we're very happy to continue with that product, and we hope you'll continue to tune in at 3 o'clock every day.
There we go. Well, you will see Justin at 3 o'clock for Studio 10 for their 1 year, and then for First at 4. But before you leave, Justin, we actually just got a quick little question from Brant. Will lake effect kick in again for Grand Rapids this Thursday into Friday?
Yes, that's a good question. Yeah, there is another kind of influx of air. This mostly looks like it's going to be a weak system disturbance, and so there is likely going to be a little bit more snow towards the west side of the state, towards Grand Rapids. I'm expecting if we get anything out of this little system comes through Thursday night into Friday here in mid-Michigan, probably an inch, maybe 2 at most, at least right now how it looks. Of course, check back in because we'll update that. But Grand Rapids, I would say, probably gets a couple more inches of snow heading Thursday into Friday. I'm not going to ballpark exactly for them because, that's their viewing area for some different meteorologists as far as specifics. So I'd ask you to go and look for a forecast around there just to get a more accurate. But I would tell you it's probably 3 to 5 inches depending on where you're at in the area, and that's over the course of all Thursday and Friday. Not looking like a real big snow for Grand Rapids, but if you are traveling that way, Brant, thanks for your question. Hopefully you're able to avoid any sort of big issue with that system. But again, if you've got the First Alert Weather app and you're on the move and you're going over there, you can look up that location. It'll give you a forecast as well, so that's good to have.
Yeah, another great reason to have the First Alert Weather app.
Yeah. And hello to Chris. Thanks for always watching us, too.
I know. Big supporter, Chris, from East Lansing. There you go. Well, good afternoon to you, too. And make sure you tune in to see more about the First Alert forecast updates from Justin. We'll see you at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right, and here's what we have coming up today during First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news. So talking about asthma inhaler switch during Mid-Michigan Matters today. We're bringing in a few health experts to talk about the inhaler switch from Flovent over to an authorized generic inhaler. So we're going to talk more about this new version, what it means for those who rely on the medication for their asthma, and also what this means when they're changing insurers. So what is the access that patients are able to get to this medication? We'll let you know coming up during Mid-Michigan Matters today. Coming up, News 10 at 5. As Justin Bradford said, these extremely cold temperatures can be dangerous, and that includes posing danger to our furry friends. So Justin Kent is riding along with the Jackson County Animal Control to see how they're working to keep pets safe during this extreme cold winter weather. Coming up, News 10 at 5:30, Michigan State Police held a hiring event in Lansing, and we were there to see what they're looking for when it comes to new hires. And then coming up, News 10 at 6 today, Aaron Bowling is speaking with officials on staying safe on the ice. And yes, it is cold outside, but that does not mean the surface is safe for things like skating or even fishing. So we're going to talk more about that coming up today on News 10 at 6. Again, that is with Aaron Bowling. Right now, we have Riley Connell standing next to me. Welcome back to the desk.
Oh, I am happy to be back to the desk. My favorite part of the day.
There you go.
I love it.
Good. We love having you up here. We're able to hear more about your story and tease ahead to our 90.
That's right. You get a little behind the scenes, and it is cold out there too.
Yeah.
Right when you said that, it's still very, very chilly out, but definitely not chilly enough to make me want to go out on the ice. So.
No. Stay inside. Stay warm.
Stay very, very warm if you can. Very chilly. Well, today we've got a great story coming up for the 90. I've been really excited to start working on this. Two members of the city, I want to say city staff in Portland. One is a Department of Public Works employee. The other is a police officer. These two gentlemen saved 22 lives on the day of an apartment fire in the city of Portland.
Wow.
Some of our viewers might remember that happened a couple of weeks ago, I believe January 5th.
You were live there.
Yes, yeah. So I had spent the morning there, talked with the chief, talked with some people who were coming to grab their belongings. So it isn't a retirement apartment complex.
Yes.
So most of the folks there were age 62 and older, I believe.
And there were 22 units that burned out of the 24,
yes,
correct? Okay.
22. There are 2 that are still standing, but at this point, it's pretty much the entire structure has been almost completely brought down. So if you remember that story, this is a follow-up to that. Through talking to some of the folks on the scene, we found out it was really 2 gentlemen who had been there first thing in the morning who responded to this fire, and it was a police officer and a Department of Public Works employee. So they both told me they just followed the smoke on their way in. They could see it coming from their way into town. They said it's a pretty small town. It's easy to see when something like that is kind of drifting up into the air. They followed the smoke. They figured there was a fire somewhere that they had to get to, and they got all 22 residents out completely safe. Everybody was unharmed. Nobody had to go to the hospital except for that Department of Public Works employee. He did end up going to see if there was any smoke inhalation issues. But they shared their story with me today, and it was pretty incredible. They didn't know each other before this happened either. Had never come across each other, didn't know each other at all. And now this is kind of this event that has united them.
Yeah.
So I actually went, did the interview with them. I left and grabbed a coffee to warm up and returned to do some more filming, and they were still there talking to each other.
Wow.
So it was really interesting. I mean, it was really cool to see. That's what kind of got me too, was of course it's amazing that they saved the lives of these folks at this apartment, but now they've also kind of had this situation that has bonded them. And, you know, saving lives isn't really in the Department of Public Works employee description, but you know, they said they just got on scene and kicked right into gear. Some of the folks at the apartment had to be carried out. A lot of them were sleeping at the time. This was very early in the morning, so 6:30 in the morning. So really, I mean, just an incredible story. I've been really looking forward to talking to them. So you'll get the full highlight of what they've done and what they saw, and a few updates on the fire itself and some community efforts to help out the folks who lost their belongings in that fire as well. So really a great, you know, full-rounded update on that. So just thankful that everybody is okay. I mean, 22 people out completely safe is pretty incredible. So that's coming up. News 10 at 6.
All right.
So make sure you tune in to hear that story. It's pretty great.
Well, great follow-up that you're working on this. Again, in reminding people of the Portland fire, but being able to follow up on it and just hear how they were able to detect it, and even talking about that bond and how they were able to come together without even knowing each other before.
I thought it was incredible to go into that, you know, mode of teamwork almost instantly. One of them with no training to do so. They said they split up. They each took one end of the apartment to themselves and just started getting people out, banging on doors. They said a lot of the residents didn't believe them at first. They were a little bit, you know, disoriented. And they had to tell them, no, this is real. This is a
Yeah.
real fire. We need to get everybody out of here as quickly as we can. There were 3 cats in the building at the time, all safe.
Oh,
That's the other
good.
update that I was happy to report. I did ask them about the cats when I was there the day of. There were some residents looking around the building for their cats.
Yeah.
They were all completely safe. So it just, everybody is okay. And that's really at the heart of the story, is that everybody got out unharmed. But it is because of these 2 gentlemen. They said, you know, people in the community have been coming up to them and calling them heroes and giving them hugs, and it's been a very unexpected situation for them. So they're not used to being in the spotlight in this way.
They saved
but
lives,
they
and
saved
many lives. Yeah.
Exactly, 22 lives, which is, I mean, I can't even get that out of my head. So, really great story. I've been excited to put it together. So I hope everybody enjoys it. Stick around through the 90, coming up at 6 o'clock.
Yes, News 10 at 6. We'll let you get back to putting that together. Thank you. Like Riley was just talking about, you know, this can create a lot of hardships for people no matter what you're going through. And so real quick, to kind of transition things over before we get to Deanna to share what she has coming up, I do want to talk about our You're Not Alone mental health series. So stories that we're airing all year long here on News 10, whether it's from community members speaking on their own mental health journey, going through anxiety, depression, stress, suicidal thoughts. Maybe you're going through a little episode of something. Know that you're not alone, and there are resources out there for you. So if you pull out your cell phone camera, go ahead, scan that QR code on the screen. You can pull up a list of resources from around mid-Michigan, and you can go ahead and click on those resources, whether it's therapy, behavioral counseling. Know that those resources are up on the QR code when you pull it up. And also you can hear stories from health experts on the factors that can impact your mental health, and also how to cope and how to heal your mentality throughout that process. So know that you're not alone. Go ahead and scan that QR code for more of those resources. And again, expect those stories all year long here on News 10. Right now we have Deanna Giles, and you are out in the cold. Is your coffee still warm?
It's lukewarm.
Oh, ew.
It's lukewarm. I know, I gotta warm it up a little bit more.
Well, I don't know what I'd want better, lukewarm coffee or cold coffee?
I mean, it's lukewarm is still a little warm, you know.
It's like a weird warm.
It's on the edge.
Yeah, that's questionable. Warm that up.
I will. But no, I've been out hanging with Chris Slope, the city clerk, just talking about the flood that the 2 floors of the city hall experienced yesterday. They had, you know, obviously it was going through the ceiling. The floors were pretty wet, so most of it is about cleaned up today.
Okay.
Luckily,
that's
no
good.
one was in the building because it happened yesterday, so it was closed.
It was
MLK
freezing
Day.
yesterday too, yeah.
Yes. So that kind of led to some of that as well. But yeah, just getting an update on that, and then figuring out, you know, if there's what's it going to look like as far as repairs, because I know they have the new city hall that they're looking to build. So just kind of trying to get all those details together, but I'll definitely have the cause of the flooding.
Okay, so we have an update and then also kind of like a push ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna shoot for that push ahead.
Sounds good. And what time is that coming up again, Deanna?
News 10 at 5:30.
All right, sounds good. You can tune into that. We'll let you get back to that too. Thank you, Deanna. And here is what else we have coming up today. Well, I did just show you this, but let me show you again since we just had Riley and Deanna sharing what they have coming up. So go ahead, check out what we have coming up for our 90 minutes of news today. And then we also have Mars Anderson, who is freezing out in these cold conditions, but we are bringing him back very shortly so he can be warm and make sure that he is not getting hypothermia or frostbite, anything of that nature. So let's see what Mars has coming up today during News 10 at 5:30. Mars?
Hi, Taylor. Mars Anderson here, weathering the cold in South Lansing. Now, as this winter storm has passed, the city of Lansing has been out paving streets, but what about sidewalks? I'll have more on what is the city's responsibility and what may be you and your neighbors and how you can help. I'll have more on that in our 90 minutes of news.
Okay, go get warm, Mars. He looks very cold out there. I'm glad he has his hat, his gloves, his jacket. Ooh, it looks cold out there. Okay, make sure you are continuing to wear any proper layers if you happen to head outdoors today. I'm going to do another live look over Michigan State University in East Lansing. So you can take a live look at that. You're seeing some of that snow a little bit on the ground, unless that might be salt. But yes, you're looking at a live look over Michigan State University. Still seeing the snow a little bit on the roads and a little bit on the sidewalks as well. Again, because of these extremely cold temperatures, some of that salt is not able to melt the snow as efficiently. So if you are driving out on the roadways, you see some slick spots, keep that in your mind. Make a little mental note of that. But like Justin Bradford was saying, we are warming up this week. Going to have those cold temperatures the next couple of days here, but otherwise we will have that warm up. So make sure to continue checking in with the First Alert forecast, getting your latest updates on all of that. Because this weather is very cold outside, but again, it will continue to warm up later this week, so you can look forward to that. Still cold temperatures, but much, much better than what we are experiencing right now. So one more time, the First Alert weather app, completely free off of Google Play and the Apple App Store. Make sure to go check that out, not only for your First Alert forecast weather updates from our meteorologist team, but also so you can get those traffic alert updates. So all of that coming up today during or on News 10. And of course you can tune in at 3 o'clock for Studio 10 coming up in less than half an hour for more of their 1-year anniversary happening today. So give Studio 10 a big shout out, and I will give them a 10 out of 10, which they typically have during their newscast or during their show. So make sure to check them out. And then also you can tune in for Justin Bradford coming up during 3 o'clock on Studio 10. Followed by First at 4, and then we'll see you following for our 90 minutes of news. So have a great Tuesday, everyone.